Good afternoon and welcome to the show, Helen Woodbridge from Easyfairs. How are you
Hello.
doing, Helen?
Yeah, really well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So,
Good.
we're going to talk about all things Southern manufacturing and electronics and the acquisition that we all read about recently.
Yeah,
Before we get into that, Helen, I'm sure they're few and far between in the industry because you've
yeah,
not to age you, but you've been in the industry a few years, I think.
yeah.
But those
Absolutely.
that don't know who you are and what you do,
Yeah.
can you please bring that to life? Thank you.
Yes, of course. I've actually been working now with Easyfairs for about 17 years, which is a
Wow.
heck of a long time. Prior to that, I was at UBM and Advent Star. Yeah, and the business development role at Easyfairs is focused on both organic growth and strategic growth through M&A. So it's a really exciting role. Each of the regions across Easyfairs has this, head of business development and this functions. Yeah, it's our job to be fueling a growth plan with launch and geoclone and acquisition ideas. So yeah, and then
Excellent.
getting over the line.
I'll probably do a whole podcast with you on 17 years,
Yeah.
but we won't.
No.
But we won't. But
Very boring.
suffice to say, you've enjoyed every minute of it. Now, we're going to talk about mergers and acquisitions. And as I said, specifically the acquisition by Easyfairs of Southern Manufacturing and Electronics. I keep referring to my notes because I can't remember that. And before we do that, I'd like this to be educational. So for people that aren't in the know and sort of understand everything about mergers and acquisitions, why is it beneficial, do you think, to sometimes acquire a business rather than continue organic growth and or product development with existing, say, events and expos?
Well, I think it kind of depends on so many different factors. My role is focused on, so I look after the UK and global region, which covers the UK, Spain and Italy, and also DAC. So obviously Germany, Austria and Switzerland. And across different countries, you can have different strategies. So there is obviously a much more of a buoyant acquisition market here in the UK and Germany as compared to Spain, where obviously so much is owned by the big venues. So from country to country, we might do more acquiring in one country and more launching somewhere else. But if I think about this specific example, the acquisition of Southern is so complementary to the advanced engineering event we run in Birmingham. And it would have been impossible, well, really difficult to launch an event in the south of England because of the strength of Southern. So obviously in this instance, it's, a much more effective way of building our portfolio, bettering the offering for the community and actually acquiring the show rather than trying to launch again. So yeah, it's a show we've loved for many years and delighted to be on board.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there seems to be lots of people I have as guests on this show, lots of acquisition activity happening, definitely post-COVID. I think the private equity call it dry powder. Lots of money sitting there, waiting to get out the blocks. I guess it's about identifying the right target. So I was going to ask you, and you sort of referred to it just then, what do you look for generally in an acquisition? And then we'll come and talk about the specific one.
Okay, so I think, over and above all the obvious metrics, like is it growing, its retention rates and profit margins and stuff. I think for us and for me, particularly in my role, it's how we call it plug and play. How plug and play is it? And in this instance, Easyfairs, has, I think we've got 30 industrial events or 30 manufacturing events across the group. So running those events in 9 countries. So it's clearly a really important market for us. We've got lots of knowledge, expertise, relationships. So this is very much a plug and play acquisition for us in that respect. And in those instances, we can then acquire and we know we can add value and help to grow a brilliant event and, make it even more amazing. So, yeah.
So talk to me about the process, because in the press release, obviously this is a business that has been in existence, I think, almost 30 years. And the events,
that's correct.
Did my research. I think it's a family-owned.
Family-owned business. That's
entity.
Right, yeah.
So, I'm just thinking, put myself in their position. All right, yes, they've decided to sell, but they want to sell it to the right, I guess they're custodians, right, of an industry, and they don't want to just jettison off into the sunset. It can't just all be about money. Obviously, there's a value.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the process, and how you knew them. Is it something that you've been working with them for many years? Is it just
absolutely. So I think, in this instance, obviously, because Easyfairs is so involved in the manufacturing and engineering industry, of course, it's an event that we've known, and a business that we've known for many years. And we've just got to know Phil Valentine, the founder, and his family really well over quite a long period of time, actually more than a decade now. And they've known for a long time that we've had a really strong interest in their event, and we've always just said, when the time is right, we're here. And the time was right, and they decided to sell to us, which we're absolutely chuffed to bits about. So it's really good. But that's been, in this particular instance, very much a long-term relationship that was built up. And we've got, other examples of that. We acquired another business in Italy about 4 or 5 months ago. And again, that was a relationship that had built over a number of years. And then the time was right, and we acquired 2 events there as well, the company's Quick Fairs. So that's definitely our preferred way of doing things. And it's nice.
Because it's interesting, I guess. You could be seen as being competitors for a period of time, but still have a good relationship.
That's
there might be a possibility of working together. How do you go about convincing them? How do you go about sort of convincing them that you are the right, custodian for their brand going forward?
I think it's a people business we're in, isn't it? People, by people, and we just built up a really strong relationship. And they can also see that, Easyfairs, is, obviously a very much a growing company and is climbing up the ranks of those, biggest companies globally. We're the biggest privately owned. But what we still really have is a real family feel in a way, because it is a privately owned business. A lot of us have been there a long time and have been on this journey together. So I think it's, been very clear to Phil and his family that our business, although so much bigger, still has the same values in a way. And certainly in this instance, the events are not directly competitive. They're complementary. There is a small overlap between them, but they're certainly complementary in terms of the way they're serving the market. So I think that complementarity really helped as well.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the manufacturing and engineering space, I guess, both in UK and abroad, and why you feel there's so much growth still to be had.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for us, it obviously is. It's a sector that Easyfairs is really, really entrenched in, and really sees the value in. So I think I mentioned earlier on, we've got 30 events across the group. But where we see this being such a great acquisition for us, and also so good for the community, is the complementarity of the 2 events. So we have a big event in Birmingham called Advanced Engineering at the NEC. And obviously, as the name suggests, that's more of an engineering focus. So focused on product design and materials, advanced materials, composites, and so on. Whereas the Southern Manufacturing Show has its real strength in production and manufacturing and the making of things, and subcontracting as well. So we feel that we know that by acquiring Southern, we're now we've got this complete offering for the market, everything from the idea orientation, with our Birmingham show, all the way through to the way that things can be made, which is, so it's that full value chain, if you like. And there is some small crossover between the shows, and there are some trade associations that work with both of us. So it's just quite nice now to have that one central point. But I think the other point as well is, there are a number of events in the Midlands and the North, but Southern Manufacturing, as its name suggests, is serving the South, and it's the only one doing that. And over a third of people in UK manufacturing are based in the South of England. So it's really entrenched in its market there. And again, really complementary to our Birmingham show.
So you bought a business, you've acquired shows.
Yeah.
How do you go about integrating them? And I guess that's the 2-part question, because one is obviously into the Easyfairs way of doing things, if you like, from an internal perspective. But also, how do you go about convincing the market that, this family-run business was serving for a number of years, you're still going to serve it in the way that they need? Because there'd be a bit of sort of maybe some natural, nervousness, maybe the wrong word, or skepticism. But talk to me about the integration, maybe firstly from an internal perspective, in terms of how you integrate any acquisition.
Yeah, so I think what's really nice, and really nice about Easyfairs is the same people are involved from start to end. So, myself and Matt have been, chatting to Phil and his family for many years. And then I then do we do the negotiation. I've done all the due diligence in-house as well. And then we take it through, and I look after the integration. So working with Phil and his family now on the integration side. So I think that one point of that point of contact throughout the process really does make a difference. It's really, I think it is quite important that, and we're lucky in this instance this is happening, that both Phil and the other founder Joe will continue to work with us as consultants, and it's a family business, so the other family members are coming across to work with us as well, which is amazing. So then that's continuity for us, but also continuity for the community as well. So the exhibitors associations have that comfort that, it's business as usual and it's the same people involved. Yeah, and then just generally on the integration side, I mean, our attitude is this is a great show and it's doing really well and it's serving its community brilliantly. So we're not going to be now changing lots of things for the sake of change's sake. It's very much they're doing a great job. Let's keep the team being able to do that great job. But where they want to now, they can tap into Easyfairs, central marketing resources or ops resources or sales expertise. And so, yeah, that's
because it could be potentially, a tendency, or you might think, oh, you've got to resist the temptation to tinker and change. But I guess that's the worst thing you can do, right?
No, absolutely. We acquired this because it's a great show and it's grown so well, and it's a team that's functioning brilliantly. So you're not going to, as I say, change it for the change's sake. It's where we can add value, we will, but otherwise it's working well.
And just in terms of the future, I mean, and other acquisitions that you might be looking at, again, how does it work? You constantly sort of got an ear to the ground?
Absolutely.
Tell us about.
So my role is very much just being out in the market, going to events, meeting owner founders, and having those conversations. I mean, as you know, these acquisitions are going to come one of two ways: either organically, where you're out yourself and meeting people and making relationships, or via brokers. And actually, the last couple we have done have been through those personal relationships, which is easier.
Do you think those, I mean, do you have a view on, it's not better or worse, but like, do you think those are the easier ones to do because you've already built a relationship rather than sort of being introduced by a third party?
I guess, I mean, it's going to have to, for me, yes, probably personally it is easier because you know the business really well as well. It's, you've tended to see lots of editions of the events and it makes the due diligence so much more straightforward, and that's a quicker process because the community, the competitor landscape and so on. So it can be easier, for sure.
Been with Easyfairs 16 years. Any key highlights?
I mean, I think it's the growth journey we've all been on together. I hate that journey sounds so ridiculous, like I'm on some kind of like pop show or something, but it has been phenomenal. And I joined and there were, I think, 20 of us in a small part of an office on the second floor of the building in Twickenham. And now in that office alone, there are 150 of us covering a whole floor. So, we've got 800 people now across Europe and hundreds of shows. So that's brilliant. And I think for me, I love the international nature of my role. So the fact that, there's our biz dev team with people, across Europe doing similar jobs and sharing ideas. And that's really, really nice. So, and I think a real personal highlight for me is this acquisition, actually, because this has been, a conversation that has been going on for a very long time. And it's really nice to get it over the line. And I'm so excited to work with Phil and his family now. So,
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We look forward to reading about more exciting acquisitions.
Oh, yes, lots in the pipeline.
Oh, there you go. Probably not.
No spoilers for the
Helen, thank you. Helen Woodbridge, Head of Business Development, Easyfairs UK and Global. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.